Ms. Lee is recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And let me thank the gentleman from Massachusetts for yielding and for your leadership and for supporting and managing this resolution today. Mr. Speaker, I rise in support of H-Con-Res 127, a resolution which I have authored for several years, recognizing the significance of National Caribbean American Heritage Month. This resolution acknowledges the important contributions of Caribbean Americans, the ones that they have made, the many contributions they have made to our nation's history and culture. Let me begin by thanking Chairman Towns, Ranking Member Issa, and the staff of the Oversight and Government Reform Committee on both sides for making this a bipartisan effort and for helping to bring this resolution to the floor today. Thank you very much. I would also like to recognize many of my colleagues on this side, Congresswoman Donna Christensen, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, Congresswoman Waters, Congressman Payne, Chairman Charlie Rangel, Chairman John Conyers, Congressman Burton, many members of Congress for their tremendous leadership on issues relating to the Caribbean. Congresswoman Christensen, whom you will hear from in just a minute from the Virgin Islands, has led health care reform efforts to ensure that any health care reform bill must address strategies that deal with the disparities in communities of color. And for this, Congresswoman Christensen, Dr. Christensen, we are deeply grateful. I'd like to also acknowledge Dr. Claire Nelson and the Institute of Caribbean Studies and all of the other Caribbean American organizations in Washington, D.C. and across the country that have worked so hard to make Caribbean American Heritage Month 09 a great success. As a longtime supporter of the Caribbean and a frequent visitor to the region, I am very proud to see us celebrate this important commemorative month for the 4th straight year. Since Congress first passed H-Con-Res 71 in February of 2006, the President has issued a proclamation recognizing Caribbean American Heritage Month every year, during the month of June. This year, President Obama issued a proclamation on June 2nd. And Mr. Speaker, I'd like to ask for unanimous consent to insert that proclamation into the record.
Without objection.
Thank you. People of Caribbean heritage reside in every part of our country. Since 1820, millions of people have immigrated from the Caribbean to the United States. Throughout U.S. history, we have been fortunate to benefit from countless individuals of Caribbean descent who have contributed to American government, politics, business, arts, education, and culture, including one of my personal mentors, the Honorable Shirley Chisholm from Brooklyn, New York. Shirley Chisholm was a woman of Bajan and Guyanese descent who never forgot her roots in the Caribbean. She was the first African American and the first woman to seriously run a presidential campaign in 1972. She was also the first African American woman elected to the House of Representatives. And so personally, I have to honor her today because I have to say that my political involvement began as a volunteer during her historic presidential campaign in 1972. And through her mentorship, she strengthened my interest in issues important to the African diaspora, both here in the United States and abroad. During Caribbean American Heritage Month, we recognize the important contributions of people like Shirley Chisholm, as well as Alexander Hamilton, Hazel Scott, Sidney Poitier, Wycliffe Jean, Eric Holder, Colin Powell, Harry Belafonte, Celia Cruz, and yes, Congresswoman Donna Christensen, Sheila Jackson Lee, and Yvette Clarke, and many other persons of Caribbean descent who have helped shape the history of our country. Caribbean American Heritage Month provides us an opportunity to strengthen our long-term partnerships with nations of the Caribbean community through greater dialogue and engagement. It must not stop with June. From disaster preparedness to trade and energy, education, and the campaign against HIV and AIDS, we share a number of mutual policy interests with our Caribbean neighbors. Last month, we were able to address some of these important issues through the Institute of Caribbean Studies Caribbean American Legislative Forum, held annually on the Hill during Caribbean American Heritage Month. At the forum, people from the academic community and the private sector, regional policymakers, and members of the Caribbean diaspora were able to meet to better integrate policy interests between the United States and Caribbean countries. And recent global events, from the sharp rise in food and energy prices, a series of devastating storms, and the global economic downturn, have acutely affected the people of the Caribbean, particularly our friends in Haiti. These ongoing regional and global crises highlight the need for continuing engagement and involvement with innovative policy solutions with our neighbors. And I'm very pleased to see the Obama administration's recent announcement of increased foreign assistance to Haiti and the President's participation in the Summit of the Americas held in Trinidad. These are all signs of this administration's fresh and new engagement with the region. Caribbean American Heritage Month also reminds us of the large and diverse constituencies of Caribbean Americans in our nation and provided us with an opportunity to send a message of goodwill to the Caribbean community both here and abroad. This month also provided us with an opportunity to share in the rich culture of our neighbors through showcases of Caribbean art, festivals, concerts, and films. In my own district in Oakland, California, the Caribbean American Heritage Association of Northern California celebrated the rich cultural heritage of people of the Caribbean through mutual concerts and family picnics. The association also hosted a third annual Caribbean American Heritage Legacy Award ceremony honoring the contributions of Caribbean Americans to our great country. Just as we should commemorate the achievements of the many diverse communities that make up this great country, the United States government should continue to celebrate the rich history and diversity of Caribbean Americans and work each and every day to ensure that the issues of concern to Caribbean Americans and the nations of the Caribbean are included in our policy debates here in the Congress. I ask all of my colleagues to join me in supporting this measure to honor and salute the Caribbean American community and to acknowledge their rich and varied contributions to the history, culture, and progress of the United States. Thank you again. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.